gotta say something. She gorgeous. I gotta say something like doing beautiful. I'm gonna strike up a conversation. I'm gonna do something. I gotta say something. That boy gotta say something. Y'all know that.
All right, man.
Now I ain't always successful.
Here we go, y'all.
But I gotta say something.
Just forget the parade and all the reasons start to fade.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Reasons, the show where you can give your reasons why you think what you feel about what we're talking about today. We should know this, man. We say no.
Dear brother, how do y'all deal with erectile dysfunction when you're in a relationship?
I wouldn't know how to do it unless I had it. And remember, if they're talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Peace. I love y'all.
What's up? Hey man, I'm gonna give y'all a little something, just a little snippet of something, just to let y'all know. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
It's a song. It's a vibe.
Oh yeah.
Brought to you by
Brought to you.
LA, the DJ.
Yeah. That's all I'm giving you. That's all I'm giving you. You can't have no more. It's your boy Fuel in our house, y'all.
Fat boy in the building. You already know what type of time we on.
Black Lip in the place to be. Let's go.
What's up, fellas? What's up, fellas?
What's up, brothers?
Another week. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for tapping in. We got a special guest today. They're on hold, waiting on to come in on the show. This Dr. Rhonda Cotton, who we actually missed last week because technical difficulties. So we got her here today, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. That's what's up. And we have another guest with her, a young lady by name of Courtney. And I'll give y'all all her accolades and stuff in a minute too. You know what I mean? But let's jump into it, man, because I want to say time for our guest because we got some stuff to talk about. We got some stuff to talk about. But I don't know. Hey, Lift, you said you wanted to know something about people that are actually voting on the election right now, like where they leaning to, I guess, right?
To a certain extent, my question
deep in, but
that's kind of a base topic. Mm-hmm. My question was more like, when it comes to election, do you believe that either party is going to benefit you personally?
That's a great question.
Ooh,
great question. Hell no. But
so Fat Boy, you say no, neither one.
I just think that one is a safer bet than the other.
We said one is a safer bet than the other?
Yeah, because one trying to take us back to 1832 and shit. Mm-hmm. We don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there.
But why is it that they have us believing, or he have people believing that the time that he was in office, everything was great and good or whatever, and people believe that? Why do you think that's so?
Because people retarded. That's the first thing.
No, the reason that people believe that, the reason that people believe that, to be honest, is that we were going through a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so gas was low because nobody was driving.
Right.
Demand was down.
Exactly.
Come on, people. Common sense is not so common.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was driving, okay? The food prices, the companies were scared to raise the food prices because it was a pandemic. Right. Although there were shortages, but people were afraid to raise the prices. Mm-hmm. And so part of what people need to understand, or anybody that has any sense of policy or of economics or of business, need to understand that when demand goes up, prices are going to go up, because that's how these corporations make money.
Of course.
That's how they make their money. And just like, you know, people don't understand, like right now, there's literally only four meat companies that control all the meat production right now. So therefore, that consolidation, they can set whatever price they want, and they can raise the prices because, hey, it's easy. We can blame it on Biden. And Biden has nothing to do with that.
Right.
It's these corporations.
Do you think that Trump was taking more of credit of what was going on through the Obama days as opposed to what he actually really did?
Exactly.
In office.
Exactly. Talitha, you are a very smart person, and you understand how economics work. She says economically we were not doing bad. That was 3 years before the pandemic. It was in his last year. And so yes, he rode Obama up into the pandemic, but during his time, he gave his corporate buddies, he raised the national debt by $3 trillion.
That's crazy.
Right.
$3 trillion. But I'm gonna just get to I'm gonna cut to the chase on the basic part. And I'm not trying to tell people how to vote, because back in the day, people used to vote and nobody knew who the hell you voted for, and nobody cared. But Trump has made this thing where you have to have his flag outside your house, or you have to drive driving a convoy in a big truck with Trump flags all over your car, and all this other stuff. You have to show who you're voting for.
Right.
I don't care. I just want people to vote, because voting is the last vestige we have of freedom in this country. You have to be able to choose your leaders. My base thing about Donald Trump is that he's a bad person. I don't care about his policies or anything like that.
Right.
He's a bad person. He's a convicted felon. He's a rapist. Okay. He forget all this, oh, it's biased courts and biased judges. And no, they presented evidence. You presented your evidence and you couldn't convince them that you were innocent.
Right.
So you lost.
Right.
But the Republicans are the party of they're supposed to be the party of accountability, and the party of the police, and the party of trust and all of this. But when it comes to January 6th, they don't remember anything.
Absolutely not.
Oh, we didn't do nothing. It was a peaceful rally. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, without trying to get too deep into it or whatever, sometimes I mean, I feel that people that are maybe well off is the ones that's more so for him. I think the ignorance of some people just not having common sense, it just boggles me. Period. As somebody with to be for someone that don't even like you is boggling to me.
And somebody who says he's a Christian, but when you ask him his favorite verse, oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
I can't pick one.
Right.
Can't pick one. There's so many that I'm not gonna tell you what it is, because there are just so many good ones in there that
Right.
Okay.
Well, Fat Boy, you gonna pay attention or you gonna lose?
I'm working. I'm working.
Look at him. Y'all see him? Y'all see him? He ain't paying no attention. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I know you're getting everybody in the chat. Sean Gordon, what's up? Big up, y'all. Long time since old LA Valley college.
What's up, Sean?
What's up with you, man? What's up? Hey, good. Thanks for tapping in. To who's that? Pete Thomas. Good point about politics. Both agree and disagree, but good points. Yeah. That's the thing too. It's kind of like some things we all can agree on, and some can we most definitely going to disagree on. I mean, because I already know. I mean, every time there's during the election, everybody's going to say what they're going to do. You know what I mean? How many times do they actually really get in it, because they don't really run nothing really? You know what I'm saying? The party itself runs it. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the majority party in order to get things done, to be on the same page. So, but for some reason, it always happens the opposite way. Either there's a Democratic president and there's a Republican office mostly. You know what I'm saying? Or either vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just kind of, it's supposed to help balance the whole situation, but I don't think it helps at all. You know, but that's just my opinion. I don't want to get too deep into it or whatever, but I do like to see, you know, people, you guys that are watching and tapping in, you know, yeah.
Well, let me hit on Pete real quick.
Question. I was gonna say the
Pete said, I would like to hear about the first question. Do you think that either party is going to benefit you personally? And if so, how? My answer is no. I don't think the political system in this country is not designed to benefit us. Number one. And if you think that it is, you are highly mistaken. But what you have to look at is, so from my standpoint, Pete, what I'm saying is, I honestly, and I may be in the minority, I don't care if it benefits me. This is the country that we have to live in. Yeah. This is the country that I have to raise my kids in. This is the country where I have daughters who should be able to have personal autonomy over their bodies. This is a country where you know, and I'm just not that dude. Trans, gay, whatever you are, those people just want to live. They just want to live their lives. I don't think they even want to be picked on or anything like. They don't want to be like out front. They just want to live their lives without people bothering them. Because I have friends that are that way. You know what I mean? I have trans friends, I have gay friends, I have lesbian friends, I have lesbian family. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I want, is for this to be a better country as a whole. And that orange man is not worried about making this a better country. His whole party is not about making this a better country. It's about picking on brown and black people. And anybody that's not like them, they kick down. So I don't care about me personally. I would rather vote for the good of our country than benefiting me personally.
Just said, you know what I'm saying? I feel that Harris' new policy could benefit my children and the good with that. So I mean, I'm good with that. I think that's really what it comes down to, man, when it's trying to decide on the future of your kids or whatever, especially for our middle class parties. You know, it's kind of like, you know, they're trying to take from us as opposed to give to us. You know what I mean? At least you have the chance. I don't care if you, with the things that right now, if you stay right, like here right now, you know what I'm saying? Instead of going backwards, I'm okay. You understand what I'm saying? So she coming in the office and she don't make it that much better, but yet we're still here. I'd rather be here than going there. If y'all follow me, you know what I mean? So, and that's when you know someone is intentionally doing something like that, and others are ignoring the fact that this will happen or okay with it. And I think I told, was it you, Fat Boy? It was one of you guys I asked. The only thing I don't get in this whole thing is how any woman, period, just being a human being, a woman herself,
vote for Donald Trump,
can be behind that. You know what I'm saying? Just can be behind that. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I mean, of course, everyone has their own reasons and things why, which is fine or whatever. But I just said I don't get it. Appreciate perspective. Who said that?
Pete.
That's Pete.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you. Indeed, Black Lift. As Christians, women, I had to learn to not judge, but cover them in prayer and love them as who they are. Exactly. What's up, moms? In the house.
Hey, Mom.
I ain't seen you in a while.
Just like Mom just said. As a Christian, did Jesus only walk with the people that were like him? No, I don't think he did.
No.
I don't think he did. So for somebody to just do that and call themselves a Christian, really, it's something that bothers me.
Yep. All right, man. I'm glad we got that out of our system there. All right, man. What do you guys think about what are y'all views? Because I was asking y'all to look up this whole thing about the red pill. What are y'all views on this red pill deal, you guys? It's I don't know. Let me
We was
go.
talking crazy outside off camera though.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
wanna
So
say nothing I said off camera.
no. You be
No, you don't want me to be authentically myself.
be authentically
Come on
yourself,
now.
bro. Mhm.
I just think it's kind of corny. I was just about to curse because he talking about be authentic. I just think that is kind of corny, and it's kind of go back to what Black Lip just said. It's like we gotta stop that, like blaming the other side, blaming the other gender, blaming the other ethnic background, blaming this, blaming that. Like, what contribution have you? What have you contributed to the wealth of society?
Mhm.
Period. Right.
Mhm.
What are you doing to be a better person? So with the red pill agenda or community, I can't even. It's so crazy. I can't even find a proper definition on what it
Right.
is
I can't get behind it.
because it's just a community of men who basically
Bitter.
and hate women in a sense. And I'm not really with that. And me and the guys, me and John talk crazy off camera, crazy, but I'm never gonna get into a group of men that bash women and blame women for their lack of success. And it's just corny and they nerds. Just
Right.
being honest. That's just what I picked up from it.
Mhm.
That's
What about you,
I'm
Lil?
going.
Well, so basically, just to explain the whole red pill thing, it goes back to the Matrix. When Neo took the red pill, it basically short-circuited the system, the Matrix, and he was able to see the truth. And if he would have taken the blue pill, he would have went back to sleep.
Mhm.
So basically, the red pill society is just there's many people that are using that term,
Mhm.
from conservatives to incels, which anyone who doesn't know what an incel is someone who's involuntarily celibate. They're actually on the terror watch list. They've committed several mass shootings in different countries, and they're basically just a bunch of guys that can't get girls.
Mm.
And that's all they do is just complain that women are stuck up and women are this or women are that.
Mhm.
And part of the whole red pill thing is that you think that you're seeing something that's not there. You think that you're awake and you see behind the curtain and you see who's pulling the strings,
Mhm.
which you really aren't.
Yeah, because the shit they talking is crazy.
Period. I mean, you're seeing what you want to see.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
And it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. When I was actually told about this, because this is something that had been going on a few years now, right?
It's
So
It's been going on a long time.
Yeah, it's
for
been
the
a
organization, right? Which I wasn't aware of until someone at work brought it to my attention or whatever. And it's amazing sometimes when you, especially, I hope nobody takes this wrong, especially foreign people that come here to this country, you know what I'm saying, and they get filled up with these type of accusations about what a man should be or who a man should be, and the power of us or whatever, and the disrespecting of the other women is like okay, that type of thing. It kind of bothers me, because it's kind of like, dude, you don't even know, this we're the opposite. You know what I'm saying? We're the opposite of that here in this country. And when you're listening to things like that or whatever and taking it in, that bothers me, because it's now you're being disrespectful. Now you're being, not only just to the women, but even to our country. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's almost kind of like a Trump to me. I don't know if you guys, follow me on that, but that's kind of like a Trump to me.
Well, red pill is it's also part of the Trump supporters' message.
Mm.
That they've taken the red pill and see that Trump is their daddy.
Mm.
Seriously, no, that's part of they see Trump as Messiah, but
yeah,
moving on past that.
I've had several people that, especially that are Republican. I want to just kind of tap on this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They, a lot of people, they say, from what I'm getting from a lot of Republicans, is they're tired of paying taxes for you know, for free health care or taxes for people to be taken care of or supported or whatever the case may be. And that's one of their main reasons of voting for Trump or whatever the case may be. Is that something that you guys hear as well, or no?
Oh yeah, yeah. I hear it all the time.
But the
As a matter of fact,
welfare for the last 10 years has been poor white people.
Yeah.
exactly. And what bothers me about it is I have family members that are big Republican fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet and still, they getting Social Security.
Yeah.
They getting SSDI.
So they'll get those things or whatever. Okay.
Exactly. But you don't want them for nobody else. You just want them
Well,
for
yourself.
you.
Mm.
Again, yeah. Selfishness.
What's been
Yeah, you just want it for you. And the thing, there was a basketball coach, Bruce Pearl. He's the coach of Auburn, and he said some nasty stuff about Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He says that she is a socialist
Mm.
because she wants to give free health care to people and all this other stuff.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this with my chest. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right.
People should have health care in this country.
Right. What are you?
Everybody should have health care.
You want people to die. What?
Right. And the funny part is that all the people that are saying that Democrats are socialist and all of this and all of that, they cool. They sitting on a bag of money. They got insurance. They got this. They got that. They don't want nobody touching their bread.
Yeah, that's why they don't want to help out. Give away. It's the same thing with these dudes, man. I think it's just a bunch of selfish individuals
Exactly.
pushing the agenda to sound important because they're really not important at the house. I think that anytime you begin hating somebody, you low-key want to be them or you want to be with them. So when you start perpetuating that kind of energy, I kind of like Phil say, I kind of got to look at you because y'all know me, I talk crazy, but I love women too much to even join the community like that. And I get too much action, you feel me, like to even join the community like that. So I know the opposite. I understand you. I understand the set of, you know, it's harder out here. Women is this, but then I also know, kind of like Courtney said, that real women ain't like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I also know that you also chasing the wrong kind of woman too. And until you really able to understand that, you're gonna continue to be a cornball.
Yeah. Rhonda, yeah, she said that they have free health care in certain parts of Europe. Yeah.
So what she doesn't understand, yes.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's so Rhonda hit the exact point. And that's my point. There's free health care in England.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's free health care in Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
There's free health care in Sweden. But they don't call them socialist countries. They're still democratic countries.
Yeah.
and they can afford to pay. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's free healthcare in France, bro.
Right.
That's why the Olympic athletes were talking about the free healthcare they got there. They was like, what? I can just go to the doctor?
Right.
And not pay nothing?
Exactly.
What a concept.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept.
Right.
What a wonderful world.
What a wonderful world. Hey, okay. One more question before we get into our guests. We're going to get our guests in a second. But I had one more question for you guys. Because we talk about, you know, us as men or whatever, and there's always something about, you know, our weakness when it comes to any emotional, you know, within relationships and stuff like that or whatever. What would y'all perspective be as how we can do what we can do better as men not to disappoint our women?
That's a great fucking question, brother. Go ahead, Black Liv. Lead the charge.
Okay.
Lead the charge.
So I've talked about this in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna hit you over the head with it. The number one thing that men can do better is listen for understanding and don't listen to respond.
Yes, we did talk about it. Yes,
because that's what most men do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Men just listen to respond. And like I've told y'all before, I used to be the worst. Mm-hmm. I'd just be sitting there and as my wife was talking, I literally would be like shaking, like, oh man, mm-hmm. I can't wait to answer this, man. As soon as she stopped talking, I'm getting ready to jump in.
Right.
And I literally only heard the first probably 5 or 6 words she said.
Right.
Because I'm waiting to just blast off.
Is that one of the things with you, Fat Boy? Like, is that one of the things that we actually really have I mean, because I in the heat of the argument, you are not listening to to respond. You're just basically want to get your part out,
Well, that's listening to respond. You're not listening for understanding.
I mean, for understanding, yes.
Yeah.
And I've had that. Yeah, I've done that before. Because it's running in my head of what I need to get out, and I don't want to forget it. And then, whatever they said, it just went out the door or whatever, because I had to get my thing out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think that is the one thing that, we can do better, of course, as men, is listening, you know what I'm saying? And communicating. Our communication is very, very weak when it comes to relationships these days. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone, I'm just saying for a lot of us, because of what society put on us. The society put on us, so we got to have this, we got to have that, we got to provide for this, we got to provide for that. And then when you have a woman that's telling you that you're not doing this, doing that, whatever, that kind of messes with a man's ego, And so he wants to kind of,
show his
bravado. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So I think that's one of the things. Y'all got anything else? Jill said be a true partner.
I agree. I'm gonna go with Jill with a true partner. I'm gonna piggyback on listening to understand instead of listening to respond. But I think one thing we also talk about as well is I think the most important is preparing yourself for a relationship. Right, doing all of the small things. You can only prepare yourself so much outside of a relationship for within it, but getting your emotional intelligence together, getting your humility together, because a lot of those things, listen to understand, come from defending. You're only defending because you lack a certain level of humility or you feel you have to protect yourself. So when you come into a relationship understanding certain emotional intelligence cues, you won't have to deal with a lot of the issues that you're talking about, right? As far as communication, far as listening to understand instead of listening to respond, far as being a true partner, because once you have a little bit of emotional intelligence, you come in with your A game, kind of like how Black live. Every time we always let him lead the way because he's tried and failed and now he's found some success in his level of emotional intelligence and his level of understanding. And so I think like the key is to start getting ourselves ready as men, and then the number two is kind of as men, what we do all the time amongst each other, right, is change the conversation. I think that we have to do less of the red pill stuff and really more of what does it take to be a husband, right? I always throw it to Black Live because he's more qualified than us. And I think that as men, we need to start to champion that, right? We need to start championing married men. We need to start championing the journey and the task that they're on because they're doing it the right way. And I think when we start to change the conversation on what it is to be a partner, on what it is to be a husband, I think then we'll be able to be better. But I think that's where it starts, because before you do what you two fellas said, you got to start at the foundation, and that's understanding how to do any of that. Because my biggest issue is I really didn't, one, know that I was defending, two, didn't understand that I wasn't listening to understand that I was listening to respond. Yeah. And if you don't have a clue on that, you're going to continue to bump your head and you're not going to get anything.
Jill said find someone you can be vulnerable with.
I agree, Jill. Talk to
but that's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, because sometimes people take your vulnerability as a weakness. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. You know,
and that's not the person for you.
That's not exactly. That's not the person for you. But look at the time you probably spent with that person before you found that out.
I think
you know what I'm saying. There's no early is there an early detection or early something that you can tell that, okay, this person is not for me or whatever, because I'm spreading my giving my laying my heart out there to her, and I'm being vulnerable, and you know what I'm saying, and her response is kind of like, all right, weak ass nigga, what you know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, how do you find where you find that vulnerable, that person, or what's the I guess red flags, or what's the You know, I mean, help me out, fellas. What y'all?
I would say understanding your vulnerability first, right? I think that we continue to ask people to offer us a space of vulnerability, but we can't properly be vulnerable with ourselves. Right? I think you got to first learn how to do that with yourself, because when you are vulnerable with a person and they don't do it the right way the first time, you're not going to necessarily hold it against them and take away your vulnerability, but you're going to start to pay more attention. Like, okay, I'm comfortable in my vulnerability. So she called me weak. I know I'm not weak. I know I'm practicing emotional intelligence. So this is not the woman for me, because the woman for me won't call me weak when I'm expressing myself emotionally.
Right.
But that's because I've understood and developed my own level of vulnerability and maturity within that.
So for me, part of your question.
Ooh, I'm sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Jills just said the moment they use something you say against you.
That's your signal to break out.
You don't know about it.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's your
I
signal.
know that a lot.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate that.
But just like, you know, what Fat Boy was saying, part of the issue comes down to, in your question, you said disappointing our women.
Mm-hmm.
What about disappointing yourself?
Come on, talk to him, King.
You really so part of the problem that we have is that a lot of times, and women do it too, but men do it. You know, everybody does it.
Mm.
You rush into a relationship and you're not good as you.
Mm.
You can't be a good
wanna
couple until you're a good single.
Mm.
Oh.
Mm.
And that's part of the issue.
Because you know you be doing this. You know you be doing this. Say it one more time.
You cannot be a good couple until you're a good single.
Come on, man.
You have to be secure in yourself and understand you. But a lot of us rush into relationships. We out here looking for the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and then but you still damaged. You damaged goods. They damaged goods. You know what I mean? Two damaged people make a damaged couple.
Come on, man.
Right.
Come on,
And
man.
so people just need to understand that.
My therapist says, healed people heal people.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Rhonda said, yes, that part. Who is showing up the real you or your representative?
And Rhonda, you hit that on the head, Rhonda, because part of the problem is when you rush into relationships like that, you're not your real self. You know what I'm saying? Most times you putting on an act, and the problem is that act is gonna hit the curtain call. How long can you keep that act up?
Exactly. Hey, you know what, Rhonda and Courtney, they coming in. So
come on. Okay, say because Courtney, I was over here cracking up at you. So Courtney says, healed people don't heal people. Healed people hold space for a person to heal themselves. I think that's a dope. Statement, right? I think it's essentially the same thing, but it's in more context. So you're absolutely right, Courtney. I agree, because you have to have the space to heal yourself. No one could heal you. So I agree with you. But I think essentially that's what she was saying, right? But absolutely right. I agree.
All right, man. Well, shoot, let's get into it, man.
It's so hard to go around it sometimes. Because if you're ashamed of yourself, you don't want nobody to see that shame. It goes back to what I was saying about you got to kind of, and what Black people say, you got to kind of do that work, because I've been there before. Shame ain't no joke, y'all. Shame will make you really, really doubt everything that you do.
Yes, indeed. All right, man. I mean, they out here. They out here talking to us. We might as well go ahead and bring them in. All right, man. So if you guys haven't been or have been watching, we have a special guest, actually two special guests today. We have Miss Dr. Rhonda Cotton. She's going to join us with talk about her book, Between Seasons, Transitions to Transformation. And we have another guest with her, Miss Courtney Morgan, and she's a was it producer and writer, Courtney? I hope I got that right. Producer coordinator in the film industry. So, you know, man, put your hands together, man, and help me welcome Miss Rhonda Cotton and Courtney.
We got Black Girl Magic on here today, huh?
I know,
I'm
right?
excited, y'all. We don't really, it's just be us in here kicking it like Bruce Lee. So it's good to have a woman's perspective in here. So we excited.
We got salt and pepper.
Yeah, I was gonna say plot twist.
Hey, you can't look. Y'all can't take that. That was me and my homeboy stripping name. We was Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all can't take that.
Talk to me now.
I be stripping on the weekends.
Sorry, ladies. I'm so sorry. I've been putting my foot in my mouth since you got on here. Huh?
Right.
Let me go ahead.
Hey.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
All right, man. So let's get into it because we've been about a week or so, kind of marinating on this book here.
Look at that beautiful artwork.
It is beautiful, ain't it?
It is.
Who's the lady on the artwork? Who is that?
So that's my son's dope artwork. He did that. He did
Arnaz?
No, my youngest son.
Oh, okay.
So
And the reason I'm calling names you guys because me and Rhonda go way back. We go way.
We high school, elementary almost.
I know, almost elementary, and we.
Wait a minute. Why I don't know you, Rhonda?
Said what?
Said why don't I know you?
I don't know. Probably because I don't look nothing like I looked back then. So that may be that.
Look, I went from Chick all the way to Southeast. So
Well, I was at Southeast for sure. I didn't go to Chick.
Okay.
I went to Pinkerton.
Yeah.
Pinkerton.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into what this book is about here.
Talk, yo.
Hey, it's KC talk, bro. Calm down.
Right.
You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, everybody up here, we looking like.
See, man. I ain't gonna mess with y'all. Hey, all right, so give us a rundown. I mean, because this is not the first time you've been doing writing. You do children books as well, right?
Right. So right now I'm working on 2 children's books that I'll have out by the end of next month. But this is like my 7th book. So this is not my first time writing. And I started writing when I was a kid. So in elementary school all the way up into now. But, just really started putting books out to just really see that I understood the process of it. And this season of life with everything happening with the pandemic, it just caused me to just really do what I needed to do to really step up and focus on the books and do the marketing piece, which I didn't do, and get some help to do it, because the book is really about, me healing in my journey and the things God brought me through and the people that were there to help me, that walked alongside of me, or just things that I was able to experience and watch with some of my family and friends. So, when you're going through something, sometimes people think you're Superman or Superwoman.
Right.
Not saying anything, you just doing your thing and you just get up and go. So you don't really have a moment or a time where you're just slowing down. And this time in my life, I was just moving with all the things that were going on. I didn't stop. I didn't take a break. I didn't breathe. I didn't do anything that I needed to do for my own mental health, for my own self-care. I was just busy taking care of other people. And, so the book kind of gives you a glimpse of, things that I experienced and revelations and things that, came to mind that I needed to check myself.
In your book, there was a lot of parts where it almost seemed like you was about to get really deep, but it didn't really get into details. So tell me what, your thought behind that as to why you really didn't go into details about certain situations, especially with the relationship.
Because sometimes you can, even though you're a writer, but you want to make sure that you're not offending the people that are reading your work. And my thing is just a message. Can I get a message in a short period of time where people will stop and start thinking about their own life?
Right.
Go back and check yourself. What is it that you have in your life that you need to take and fix? And what is it that is out of control? Because sometimes we think out of control is just what we're naturally doing. And the reality is out of control when you have no control.
Right.
You're having to figure out like what's going on, because I don't know if I'm going left or am I going right. So the reason why the book is written the way it is, because it's really about people checking themselves. You know, there's a lot of things I could say, but again, I'm always conscious about, you know, what I'm writing, and I don't want people to be uncomfortable. I want you to receive a message from it that's going to speak to your heart. So yeah, you're right. It could have went way in.
Yeah.
You know what though? I honestly think it was a beautiful way to articulate some of your experiences without overshadowing the purpose of what you were writing the book for.
Right.
Because I think if she would continue to go deeper, I think it kind of transfers from being a book that people can relate to kind of like a biography of just like her journey and people taking away from the journey. So I think it was really well done, and I think it was a great exercise in restraint on your part, because, you know, people, we love to talk about ourselves.
Right. Well put, Courtney. Well put. I like that.
That was going to be my point of the book, is that the book really did seem like it was autobiographical. And me not knowing you or knowing of your journey, it did go. I think it went deep enough to where people, it would open people up enough to understand your journey and to pick up points or pick up pointers without getting lost, you know, without getting lost down some rabbit hole of how some dude did this or this happened, or this happened, or that happened. So that I think you did a very good job doing that.
Well, and the truth is this: whenever you're going through something, it is your truth, you know, and you don't need nobody else to tell your story. You do a great job telling your own story. The reality is the story you tell, and make sure that it's authentically you and not a copycat of somebody else's that you heard. True. Because a lot of times people go back and tell somebody else's story, and they tell it because of what they've heard it over and over again. When you talk to them about it, they can't really tell you because they don't really relate. So when you sit here and you're listening and you're reading something, the deal is this: always read for understanding. Right. Add whatever nuggets you can get out of it, and you move on. You're not there to stay. You're just there to get something and go. Because the information you get now, you're getting it now, but you may not need it for 5 years from now.
Right.
So you just get it and go. So, and that's the whole thing. And especially, you know, what warms my heart is that you guys actually read it and you have clear vision about what the book is about. Because if you all can read it and get something out of it, then I did my job. Because the hard thing sometimes for women to write is that we're always intentionally writing for women. But my philosophy is this: I believe men need to learn and understand women just as well. And some of our little drama and cray-cray that we have doesn't always necessarily mean it's because somebody did something to us. It's what we've gone through, and we're trying to heal ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a reflection of our
Hold on. I think that's what kind of brought me down, as opposed to, you know, like, oh, sure, let me, you know, when I got to get to the next, and then the scripture come up and you're like, oh, amen. Okay. you know what I mean? And it took you away from that negativity that most people do and think or whatever when reading something or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I like the positive messages, the positive things that basically, like you said, when you know, kind of give a little bit of a situation, but don't have to go deep into detail about, you know, and like you said, go into that rabbit hole of thinking or whatever. So yes, I like that. I like that. What was you going to say, Fat Boy?
Oh, I was just I'm sorry, y'all. My question was, because you made a great point about keeping it general, right? When I read it, I realized that it gives me Why Does a Caged Bird Sing vibes, right? It has that Maya Angelou minus the rate, right? But what I noticed that you did was from the beginning of the book, you're talking about yourself, but it's extremely general, right? And I wanted to know what you kind of answered it, but what was your reasoning for that, right? Why did you want to make it general when it is more biographical? So it is about an African American woman, but you made sure to maintain the generalization of it, right? Into of course, grab a larger audience, but I kind of want to get into the mind of the writer on that.
Because I want people. So the cover of the book is what my youngest son, he's the graphic designer of the book. And so when I got the cover, for me, the book talks about every woman of every color, every nation, every ethnicity. You just don't know what she is, but she's somebody. And so when you do, the way I wrote it was because I want other people to read it. You know, every ethnicity doesn't identify with me as Black. Because they're not having my experiences.
Right.
Me and Courtney talk about a lot of things, you know, and I don't identify with some of the things she's had to deal with because of her, what, you know, her ethnicity is. But the fact is, the common denominator, when we see something and it shows up as us and it's not us, we can sit there and we can get into it because now we know somebody's having the same experience.
Exactly.
Generalization means somebody that's reading it is having the same experience. They don't have to be out here screaming about it because we're all reading about it together.
Right.
So that's why, you know, and it's like when Jesus was walking the earth, what did he do? He did parables. He did parables because simplicity made people listen. They were able to understand. They were able to grasp whatever he was saying. He didn't use the thous and those. He wasn't on the big words. He used things that people could really sit and listen to. And when you have simplicity, guess what it does? It grabs the heart of the reader. It grabs the mind of the reader because now you can visualize in what the author is saying.
Right.
So then that was the real reason, is because I wanted to keep it simple, but I wanted anyone that read it. And like I said, you guys have blessed me because you read it and you get it. And that, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. People getting it and being able to use, there's tools in there for everybody. You got a teenage daughter, a teenage son. There's you pull out to tell them, hey, this is what may happen. So you got to be able to pivot and move.
Exactly.
Learn those things when our parents are giving us a real foundation and showing us how to live. Live beyond what your limitation is. We in the projects, but not forever. We only here for a moment and a season and we out. So we got to know how to move when it's time to move, not get stuck. And I say this all the time. Stephen's heard me say, the past ain't paid no bills, so I ain't got time to hang on.
Right.
No money for nothing that I've been through back then. So it don't come hunting me down to what I owe you for this. So why are we holding on to it? We can't. You got to be able to move and just keep it.
Okay.
I have a question from Jill. I want to read.
Oh, go ahead.
Jill said, a question came to me while reading your book. Do you feel that the church can be a hindrance in encouraging people to stay in abusive relationships to avoid divorce?
Ooh.
That's so good, Jill. You're gonna get some apples and oranges.
I know, right?
hey, let me explain real quick. Jill is my wife.
Okay.
And she's white and she read your book.
And I love her for that. So the thing is this. What you just said is something that we don't like to address in church. We don't. And then the thing is this, people always get it confused about what you're supposed to do, because when you're getting married, they're telling you to stay in your marriage, that you to do what you need to do to resolve those issues. But until somebody is physically in that altercation all the time, especially men and women, and nowadays there's more men being physically abused than it is women.
Well, I'm hearing.
I talked about it.
Yeah.
But yes, I do believe that, you know, the church can sometimes be a hindrance when it comes to, you know, people moving on. Because a lot of times, if you think about it, are you getting married for the right reason anyway? Did you do the right thing before you said I do? Or was it your flesh that told you to say I do because you wanted to keep committing sin? And you wanted to be right. And a lot of people, if they really take the time and be real with themselves, why did you get married?
Right.
You know, did you get married because you earnestly knew the person? You all understood each other. There was no intimacy before you got married. Did you get married because you knew that this would be the right person, that we could work together, partner together, encourage together, cry together, lean on each other when we need to? Did you speak about if you woke up the next morning, can I look at him and can he look at me? And are we going to be okay 50 years down the road? Will we still have the same respect and love? Half of the people not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the issues with the abusive situation, it runs rampant in church. And people like to sweep it under the rug. But you got to have ministries that can speak to that thing. A lot of people are in church, but they have no ministry to speak to that. So even at my church, we have a ministry that definitely talks to a lot of issues that we are having everyday life, especially for couples. Couples go through a lot of training together. You can't be in a couples ministry without your husband or your wife, because you're going to have to walk it out and understand where you are. And when I used to coach couples, I always coach it from a standpoint. I've never been married, so I'm not interested in your marriedness. I'm interested in your singleness, being married, because until you address some of your issues from your singleness, you can never really be married and step up to be the man or the woman that you desire to be. If you come into the door with bags that are piling up to the top of the door, and you've never opened it up. But I come in your house and I'm bringing all my luggage in. I'm sitting it at the door. I'm not going to unpack it because I don't want you to see how crazy I am. You don't want me to see how crazy you are. So we sit there and let the luggage sit, and we got 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 years and the luggage still there and ain't nobody unpacked the bag.
True that.
I also wanted to ask you, what gave you the idea to use biblical text to kind of bring validity to your transition, right? Kind of to bring it all around to the reader.
Because in the word, the Bible is we don't have a blueprint, right? We don't get when you're born and they say, surprise, you have a boy, and then they give our parents a manual on how to raise a boy. And then once the boy or the girl gets to a certain age, you get another manual on how to be a teenager. We don't have a manual, but we do have the Bible. And the Bible is biblical. And the Bible is from times before. And everything in the Bible is what we're dealing with right now. So we're not doing anything. Any relationship issues we have is not new. So this is the thing for me. When I had a women's conference, and so my text and my title was, "Hey, generational curse, I got a bone to pick with you." The reason why I said that, because when I went back to Genesis and started reading Genesis, I got pissed off. I realized we're getting robbed of some things that God really intended for us to have. And because of all the craziness in between then and now, we're missing out on what the benefits God really intended for us to do. So the text gives you content of what you can read. The word speaks to you.
Right.
When you're going through something and you open that Bible, if it don't say nothing but the Lord is my shepherd, that right there speaks volumes, because you're realizing, God, you're my everything, my all in all, my I am, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. So it gives you contents to who you are. And so that's why I put scripture in there, because I need people to go back to the word. We live in biblical times.
Right.
We're repeating history from biblical times. If you go read the Bible, everything we're going through, they did it back
there.
Yeah.
So it's no difference.
Do you think that there's an agenda right now to continuously separate men and women and dividing them further away from Christ in order to continue this confusion?
It's like slavery. Back when slavery was in, what happened? We were brought over, sold, but as soon as the master or the wife got mad because of something happening, then guess what they did? They started dividing the family. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. So what happens now, and what is happening, if people can make us think, women, that we are out here on our own and we are not worthy and whatever else is going on, then guess what? The men do whatever they're going to do, but you can't really do for a woman because she thinks she's Superwoman. She's all that.
And that's what society has tricked us to.
let me tell y'all something. If y'all go and look at women's women's rights, you never see my Hancock on there. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for what the Lord said we're supposed to be and do in life. When he created Adam and Eve, he created man, and then he created woman to be a helpmate. I didn't sign up saying I'm all of this.
Right.
This stuff when we're not unified together in unity. As a man and a woman, we need each other because there are things that we pour into one another when each other needs to have a word, to be able to lean your head on their shoulder, to be able to just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Right.
So you can't never become the best version of you if you single. Let me just put that out there right now for everybody that think, oh, I'm single, hooray, hooray.
I'm glad you said that because I know there's more of me that's out there than. I know I need that mate to bring it out of me, but
you will never be the best version of who you really think you are when you're a single person.
By yourself.
Absolutely, because that's not God's purpose for us. God's purpose wasn't to be single, and now we're confused and competing against each other when it's things you can do that I can never do, and vice versa. And when we connect truly, that's alchemy. That's divine order. That's when things start falling into place. When we were talking earlier, men want to feel heard and they want to feel safe within their relationships. And women are not doing a great job at holding that space for the men.
Not at all.
These men are going out into the world and going into war, and then they're coming home for another battle. No wonder this man's got 7 women. He's looking for peace. The man ain't settling with who's got the best sex. The man is not settling with the prettiest woman. The woman he's settling with is the woman that brings peace.
That's the truth. Yeah. He's not, because people get it confused. They think that, because look, all y'all out there with them BBLs and whatever else you got going on, let me tell you something. When you hit that 60, 70 mark, 80 mark, ain't none of that real. Because if your brain don't work and you can't move, you're looking for somebody to take care of you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be dealing with a superficial person. Everything has
you didn't even take care of yourself. It's like, how you gonna hate people? You don't even like yourself.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
You're doing too much. And this is why, with my book, hopefully people will be able to read. No matter where you're from, you will be able to read and glean some nuggets out of it, so you can stop tripping about who you want to be and worry about who God said you are. We're always want to be what everybody else is telling us, because you're getting up, you dress nice, you got a nice car, you got a nice house, but your attitude sucks.
Hey, Rhonda, don't they say the devil says confuse your enemy, huh? We're confused out here.
100%. But you gotta just be able to be good with you, and that's the problem. A lot of us, a lot of people are not good with themselves, but we want to perpetrate. That's why I say, you show up, either you're going to be really you, or you're going to be send a representative. You're going to be in the real world, or you're going to be in the fantasy world. Right now, a lot of people doing fantasy.
Right.
We almost.
Yeah, they did not take the red pill, isn't it? Or they took the red pill. Is it the red pill? They took the red pill. They're living in delusion.
Yeah.
Delusion. Mental health is at an all-time high in the United States of America. And I think that's another interesting topic to hit on, is that a lot of the problems that we deal with culturally are U.S. exclusive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are.
This is social conditionalism at its finest.
Yeah.
And there's that's probably a whole nother podcast though. Before I get
well, no, I mean mentally, because that's one of the reasons why we do our podcast too. Well, especially as males. On this, because it's a mental thing as well for us. That's why Fat Boy does therapy. That's why I learn from him when he goes, because I get it free. But and we got my cousin's a wise guy. You know what I mean? So we got a lot that actually plays the part. As to when it comes to the mental health of us male or whatever. And we're not how can I put it? We're open, you know what I mean? We're not like, we're not bashing. We're not, we get open to other people's opinions.
Y'all are tired.
Right.
Y'all are tired.
Right.
Men are out here tired.
Oh, yeah.
They're waving a white flag and they're saying, I need peace.
Exactly.
I'm exhausted.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I've never seen so many men cry in my life. And it's like that's not something that just happened overnight. That's a culmination of decades of putting too much on your back and culturally being told you need to handle your y'all don't cuss on this, and I cuss like a sailor. So
we curse.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the dynamic that men are living in, and especially as Black men in America. That's a whole nother subpar topic that I think especially people who look like me kind of stray away from having these conversations because they internalize this version of guilt. And it's like, I ain't had no damn slaves. I ain't had nothing to do with that. I'm looking for anybody who wants smoke about what we do in the community, because I'm a mover in my community, frontline soldier, kick doors in. So what do you do for your community? Because it starts there. It starts in the backyard, and it starts in your home. How do you talk to your brother? How do you talk to your mother? How do you talk to your guy friends? How are you talking to your female friends? Are you really pouring into the people that are around you, or are you functioning from a state of selfishness? And you're functioning from that state of selfishness because you're functioning from a state of scarcity. You don't know what you're doing. You're terrified. You don't have any leadership. So you're figuring it out as we go. Every young Black man that I know in my neighborhood, they all say the same thing. They don't have anyone to look up to. There's no mentors. There's no one leading them in a direction that's positive. There's no one pouring into them in their communities. And that's a major, major issue that we don't talk about. And one thing is, like, right now I'm redeveloping my relationship with church. I've always been super faithful. I've always been into God, but I think in my own version, it's been on my own terms. And just like how I'm redeveloping my relationship with church, I laughed at myself because I went to church on a Saturday the other day, and I'm like, ooh, it ain't nobody here. I got in, I got out. And I was like, and I laugh on the way home because God is calling me to church for community.
Right. Hello.
And I went on a day when nobody was there. And I'm like, oh, I just got in, got out. But that's what he calls us for. He calls us for a community because there's healing in these conversations. You know what I'm saying?
So
go ahead.
So Dr. Cotton, I have a question for you, and this may be controversial for both of y'all.
Okay, we'll go.
Okay, so I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual.
Okay.
I don't presume that there's just one God. I don't presume, you know what I mean? I don't presume that the one God is that God. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, that's very presumptuous of us when we don't know.
Right.
So number one, how do you interact with people that are not as Bible based as you are?
Well, listen, I can break it down real quick. I ain't never even read the Bible. When I was a teenager, I had this thought process that if I didn't read the Bible, he couldn't be mad at me because I ain't really know. You know?
Hey, works for me. Let's go.
In a can of oil. I was like, I can't really be that mad. I don't really know the parameters. Once you have the information, then you have to hold yourself accountable because you know better. It's a difference. Ignorance is bliss. That's why that saying exists. So I very much come from a spiritual background. My mother was raised in a Catholic church. She didn't believe in church. She believed in reincarnation. I got baptized probably like 4 times. I was raised in the South, Southern Baptist Black church. Me and my brothers were the only white people in church. My mama wasn't there. I was raised by my godfather, like predominantly younger. And I got baptized like 3 times because I wanted to get in the water. And I don't know if y'all are from the South or you've been to a church in the South, but there's not a single Black church in the South that doesn't have food after you do baptism. And food was a large driver for me as a
Look, I live in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, so then Southern Black Baptist Church. You've been to one, you've been to them all, so you already know.
But spirituality
church for me was the first place I saw a play. It was the first place that I saw adults acting ass. This lady jumps up every Sunday speaking in tongues, and she'll never fall out in the pew. She only falls out in the aisle. She can't walk or see shit, but she can make it to the aisle every damn time to the front before she falls out and commencing to act wild. Like you watch the dynamics of adults, some of us that are younger, and it becomes a joke. So church was a joke to me. That's why I said I'm redeveloping, and I'm 37. I'm just redeveloping. And Miss Rhonda saw me, Dr. Cotton saw me at church, and when I tell you I'm in tears, I'm in shambles. As soon as they start to sing, I lose my mind. It's something about music that just my whole soul goes wide open and I go bare. So like being spiritual is so it's so close to being religious because it's even blinder because we don't go off a book. This is just straight pure faith. And your relationship with God is intimate. and it's personal. And the more someone tries to push it on you, the more you're naturally gonna go the other way.
Yep.
I have a theory that men lead and women guide. And that is how the Bible and that's how church is. Church plays itself as a guide to you, and it guides you in a direction, because like we were talking about, healed people don't heal people. They hold the space for you to heal yourself. Because when it's drama, most people do what? I'm out. First sight of something crazy, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, when you have someone who's healed and understands that your actions are not a derivative of who you are, but it's a derivative and a direct reflection of your traumas.
Yep.
They know how to sit through that shit with you until you get to the other side. Yeah. So God is the person sitting with you when you get to the other side. Now, God I haven't read the Bible, but I've dived around it. And I know they say in the Bible, like, there's one time where he's like, oh, these other gods, don't worship any other gods. Now, God ain't gonna tell you don't worship any other gods if they don't exist. No false idols. You know what I'm saying? So he knows there's things out there, but he is the one and true source.
Right.
You know, but that's something you gotta lead to yourself. And I think open conversations like this, where you're not getting punched in the face with a Bible every 3 seconds, because that ain't gonna work.
Well, and this is the other thing. So spirituality is this. This is when you and what your belief is when you have that one-on-one relationship. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a religious person, because I'm not. I do have a belief in God, and I know that when I pray, he answers. I know that when I've gone through whatever I've gone through and I look to him, he answers. And as Courtney alluded to, you know, we whatever your belief is, your belief. So when I meet somebody, and this is the crazy thing, I'm always meeting people that don't have a relationship with God. You know, they'll tell me about the universe. And I said, okay, well, the universe to me is the same thing as God. So you saying one thing and it's the same thing. You know, the Jehovah's Witness talking about they only believe in Jehovah as God. So we're all saying all these different things, but they all have the same name. So we're going to give what we're going to give it, because that's where we're at. And it depends on, too, who you're around. What are they doing? You know, the millennials started the whole thing, really started talking about the universe, because they so burnt out on church and burnt out on how parents are trying to push them, or people trying to push on them. When nobody
they're getting pushed on with no foundation.
Yeah, so I've read other books, so that's my thing. It wasn't a millennial. You know, I've been in the Torah. I've been into Buddhist readings. I've been
in the first 6 books of the Old Testament. I just say like this. This is my thing about spirituality and religion. First thing you have to do is the same thing Dr. Cotton said, is you have to open up the book for yourself.
Exactly.
Like, you have to go gather the knowledge for yourself. You can't assume what it says. Because one thing I learned when I opened the Bible, there is no confusion in there. It's
just trust what other people say. You can't trust what other people say. It's
directly to the point, right? Yeah. It's a misconception about, so I'll give you a story, right? There's this misconception about Eve misleading Adam, and that's totally a false narrative.
Right.
Actually, Adam had the instructions before Eve. So actually it's teaching men to maintain your wits when everyone around you is losing theirs, because God is giving you the instructions to lead before she even got here. So but what happens is, because I don't know my knowledge and I'm allowing people to confuse me, I become a red pill man, right? Because I become a red pill man because I've been told that, oh, the woman is the reason why we were banished out of the Garden of Eden. But if you read your Bible, that is not why.
Right.
We were banished out of the Garden of Eden because Adam lied and said it's her fault.
Yep.
And God said, I gave you direct instructions, so now y'all got to get up out of here, right? Because you planted the tree. Yeah. You knew the tree, what was the business with the tree. And so I feel like first we have to get an understanding with the word, and then we'll start to begin to understand that the Torah, the Quran, the Buddhists is all saying the same thing. Seek enlightenment and seek anointment and treat your neighbor like you want to treat yourself. It's all the message But in different times, there were different prophets. And that's how powerful God is, right? Because in the same time, he was sending prophets in Arabic. He was sending prophets like Confucius. He was sending prophets all over the world, right, to spread his message, right? And then he solidified it with the death of Yeshua, right? And so I think that one, we got to get some history. Two, we got to stop letting people tell us the truth and go seek it for yourself.
Yeah.
But here's part of the problem that I have with what's going on. And don't take this as an insult. Bible thumping Christians seem to be the ones that are pushing their religion on this country more than any other group or any other religion.
I think it's Ramadan, so that's my thing. When
do you agree? You see that? Do you agree with what I'm saying?
But those are
they're trying to turn America into a Christian theology, and it's not.
But
but if you look at the history of America, it's always been an agenda for something. And what's one of the strongest ways to get people to move?
Right. So that's the other thing.
Exactly.
So when you got to look at it, if you go all the way back, who actually brought Christianity or Christian over here to the United States? So when you think about the people that brought it over here, they brought it over here to control us as slaves.
It was conditionalized.
And that's what I was telling Fat Boy the other day.
Okay, so hold on.
Mm-hmm.
But because although sometimes what the devil means for bad, God turns around and uses for our good.
Mm-hmm.
So although they use that to try to control us, there was solace in it when you watch your husband and your children get snatched out of your house and get sold off. And now you have to be the head of your home because the men that were there are no longer there. They've been sold. You may never see them again. You don't know what's going on. So if somebody says, go to a gospel or go to a hymn that is a Christian, then guess what? It brings peace. That's just like when you're going through something and I say the 23rd Psalms to yourself 10 times. Watch what happens. It brings the peace to you because why you said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. My soul needs to be restored because it's broken right now. I'm going to hell and high water trying to figure out how I'm going to get back up. And ain't nobody there to lift me up. So I got to believe in something that's way beyond my own being in order for me to go where I need to go.
Exactly.
So you got to understand whatever your belief is. That's why I don't have debates with people because you got to understand and know what you want.
You got to have your own. You got to get in there.
You got to have it. And at the end of the day, where you go is where you're going. Where I'm going is where I'm going. When I lay my head down, I'm good.
And there was a passage in your book, Dr. Cotton, where you actually said that, and I did read it, that I'm trying to think of the exact words, where you were not supposed to be around people that didn't believe in God.
No. So the thing for me is this. I had at one point in time, I used to have this thing that there can be spiritually sensitive. And so for me, if I was around people, there was just things that I could pick up that I did not like. So I would just kind of ostracize myself. I'm really an introvert because of that. So I've grown up like that. And Stephen, no, I've been like this all my life. So I'm really like that because one, when I understand the difference between evil and good, spiritual warfare, when you understand certain things, you already know there is a tracker on your back.
Right.
And every move you make, Lucifer is trying to get you and trip you up.
For sure.
So I really shouldn't be living right now. I should have been dead when I was in high school. But if it was not for the hand of God that kept me, there's plenty of times that I should have been out of here, but God kept me. And it wasn't because I was sitting in the church. It was because me and him having one-on-one with me praying at nighttime when I needed to pray, or I'm crying, going through whatever I'm going through as a kid. So a lot of our experiences is based on when did you have an encounter? What was it? What did you go through? So even in the midst of I shouldn't have been here and people, I am not an always friendly person because I just don't want to be bothered. It's just 100.
What do you say? Because I'm the type of person that, and as Liv knows, you know, we growing up in a Christian household. It wasn't always my thing to speak on religion, you know, every day. Although I heard it every day. Although I was, you know, I ain't gonna say forced to go to church, but
You're forced to go to church.
Pressure to go.
Look, Mama said you're going to church. You're going to church.
You know what I'm saying? Every week. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yet I still, even though I, you know, there was things installed in me spiritually that I didn't actually really know it was going to be until, you know, either my life was saved in a situation or something happened that I know I shouldn't be here. But yet still I don't go out and preach it. I don't go out and preach, but at the right nick and time of somebody coming asking me something about me, something like that or whatever, is my way of witnessing to who God is.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. And I'm not, because I my ex, my daughter's mom, you know, God this, Lord this, God this, God that. That wasn't me. I couldn't do that. But she was wanting me to be that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why we, you know, were apart, because like I know who he is. I know what he's done. I know all that, but I don't have to showboat it or lash out to someone else and tell them whatever to make them feel. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when it's meant for me to give that, that's when I give it.
But this is the thing about being a Christian, having a relationship with God. Mm-hmm. God uses each and every one of us uniquely differently. I'm not a Bible toter. Mm-hmm. And Courtney will tell you, we ain't sitting up talking about the Bible all the time. We talk about real life stuff, things that are happening in the world right now that need to be changed. Mm-hmm. When God puts the right people that have the ear for your voice, guess what happens? Whatever nugget you have to drop on them, you're going to drop it and you're going to keep it moving. And then somebody else is going to come by and water the nugget, you drop it, and it's going to keep growing. So you'll see the manifestation of it later on. May not be now, but later on. And when you grow up in a Christian household, as I did, and this is the foundation they give you, the Bible says, train up a child. So your foundation is there, whether you stick with it or not. Eventually, at some point in time in your life, you're going to fall back on it because why? It's your foundation. Mm-hmm. We don't do a lot of things, and we don't like a lot of things because of how it was presented to us growing up. So we can be very defiant and rebellious about how we apply it or how we use it because we don't want to seem to be this, that, and the other. First of all, who I am, I'm uniquely who I am.
Exactly.
I'm not making no excuse, and I'm unapologetic about who I am.
Right.
God loves me to death, but you'll get cussed out at the same time, and then I'm gonna love on you right after I get done cussing you out because I am human. I don't have time to play games. That's not my thing. But if I can get you to understand what the love of God is, which is unconditional, that's what his word says. Agape love. Agape means you can love your enemies and they will be looking at you like, what in the world? They can need you and you show up for them, not understanding that they don't like you, but your love overpowers the fact that they don't like you, and whatever you giving them, they're going to take it. Why? Because you're genuine.
Right.
When you are who you are, people are receptive to you. Right. I don't have to like your culture or understand what you're doing in order to love you. Right. That is what God is telling me, that I need to accept what you're doing, and whether you love Jesus or not. No, that's your thing. But I can love you in spite of. And that's what we're supposed to do, which is what a lot of people don't do. Oh, you're not this, or you're not acting like that. Well, that ain't Jesus. He loved everybody. Mm-hmm. Put here, he brought the faith of the earth, took our sins to the cross with him, and died so that we are here. So the fact that he's our buffer and we ain't having to deal directly with God, that when we commit a sin, that we dead on arrival. Look, everybody's tripping about stuff they don't need to be tripping about. But if you have a relationship, whoever you want to call them, Jehovah, God, have your relationship. Right. Show the love of God. That's what you need to be doing. Showing the love to your brother or your sister. It doesn't matter where they're from. Just love on them. because love outweighs and overtakes everything. Is when we're sitting here trying to debate who is a believer, who's not a believer.
It's about the love, yeah.
I don't, but that's what I'm saying. The way I live my life. Don't be a dickhole to people.
Yeah. Right. Hello.
Period. Period.
It.
What you ain't gotta be in the Bible. You ain't gotta be in the Quran. You ain't gotta be into this. You ain't gotta be into that.
Just be a good person.
Just be a decent freaking human being.
Yeah.
But we don't have that in this country. We don't have that in this world. And I get that, you know, some people need a relationship to get to that point. Like a relationship with God or whatever. But to me, the fundamental is just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, and you should.
Period.
But this is the other thing. We know that there are cults out here, and there have been a history of cults that have misused the word to draw people in. And so this is where people get upset and they want to look at people as religious or Christians as a whole cult thing, is because of the things that have happened in the past. When you don't know the word for yourself and you don't have a one-on-one with God, you will follow anybody.
Absolutely.
And that's what they look for. They look for the weakest sheep in the herd, and they will just get them and just round them on up. And be like, okay, I can take your money, I can take your house, I can take your car, I can take your life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And because to me, that's just part of the issue.
That's not the religion, that's the people.
That's the people.
No, I get it's the people.
Even if when you get in your Bible, it say beware of false prophets, right?
And
you gotta really get it. Once you get into your literature, right? It tells you to beware of the things that's concerning you. Right. To beware of people who say they are Jews and that are not. To people, like, it tells you what you need. I think that all of the books, I think that we confuse religion and spirituality. Religion has been used to conquer and colonialize nations for years. But spirituality, the books was here before Caesar. You gotta know that. Like, before Caesar switched it all up, they had to translate. King James and them and all of them was brought. That means the book was already here. Meaning that the word was here before people started to do what they did with it. So I said that to say, we still, like Dr. Cotton said, we have to have our own knowledge and our own relationship. And I agree with Black Lift. As a believer, I can't shun you for not believing what I believe, because that's the opposite of what I believe. Because Yeshua only went to people who were non-believers.
It's in your book that he walked with those that needed the help the most. He didn't just go to the wealthiest or whatever.
He didn't hang out with them.
Exactly.
He didn't care for them. But I say that to say, if I'm in my book, I know that. So I know when I see a homeless person not to treat a person like that. I know when I see someone with different views than me not to treat them a certain way, because I'm in my book. But if I have an idea or I'm going off of what someone else say, you could turn me any other way, and then it'll create an argument between a person who's just saying, hey, I don't technically believe what you believe, but I don't go out here creating mischief every day. Does that mean that I'm going to hell? Do you get what I'm saying? Because that's essentially what people's argument is, right? But my thing is, I don't have a heaven nor hell to put you in, right? I am a vessel who's just telling you, hey, through my journey, also a person who was raised in the church and despised it, right? Despised church people. But I'm here to tell you that in the last 6 months on my journey with getting to know God and reading the Bible for myself, that I have come to realize that, like you, Black Lift, half the churches are BS.
Yeah.
Because they're not really spreading the true word of God.
That's what's taking.
And that's what's giving people this
misconception.
It's doubt. It's a doubt. It's a full-fledged doubt, because when you go into church, these churches are transactionalizing Jesus.
Yeah. Like I told Fat Boy,
these churches, and that's a big thing that millennials have really, like Dr. Cotton, you made a great point that we're shifting more to a universal respect of just be a good person. Where it's the same ideologies, it's the same way of living in a divine order and a divine God.
Is
But
to be a
because
good
of the
person.
way, and especially American churches are built up, you're in there 5 minutes before they're asking you for money.
Well, that's
It's like I
And
told
so people who
hungry
don't have
guy.
a good relationship with church, they base that idea of what church is around these like a big smoke screen.
We talked about the younger generation and why that they're all over the place and why they're not, into the church as, or believe in a lot of the word that that's out there, because you have a lot of false prophet. You have a lot of people that's basically that you're seeing these days that's making money off of, just making money off of people, not really trying.
Do you think that these, like as a whole, do you think that the whole evangelistic culture has kind of destroyed spirituality, like genuine spirituality?
Not, I can't say all, but yeah, some.
I live in Texas, right? I live in San Antonio, right?
They've created.
The culture
I live in San Antonio, and like
because today the culture of it today is about money.
I've driven past.
Huh?
I said I live here in Texas. I've driven past Joel Osteen's church,
Mm-hmm.
the one that he would not open up when the floods were hitting Houston.
Exactly.
And he would not let people in his multi-million-dollar church.
Right.
There's another dude here in San Antonio that's got a big church, and he's built a big school with a big football stadium and all this other stuff. And like I was telling Fat Boy, part of my problem with it, and the Bible has nothing to do with it. It's just the religion of the fact that I've seen my mother and Dr. Cotton, you from Kansas City. My mother went to Prince of Peace Church. Okay. My mother spent her entire life praying and going to this church and giving all her damn money to help them build 2 new churches. And they couldn't even get her a damn ride to church.
Yeah, but that's
I know, Fat Boy. I'm just telling you. That turned me to a whole nother level.
Back to the terms. Yeah, back to the term. That's why I say you have a lot of false prophets. You have a lot of it's all about money. And I've experienced exactly what you said, Woody. When I moved to Atlanta, and I was going to go to Creflo's Dollars Church because I seen it on TV, and I was kind of like, oh man, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? The spirit is just. I'm thinking it's the thing, right? I go to the church. To even park, I had to go like maybe almost a mile away to even park and catch a train up to the church. Right then, I was kind of like, oh crap, all right. Everybody's into it. Okay, everybody, it's a big place. Okay. Then I walk in, and you cannot go into the pulpit without going into the gift area or books where they got to sell you before you even go in
to the church.
That was another thing that just kind of disappointed me, right? But then I got in there, I was kind of like, okay, I'm saying I'm gonna get something from this or whatever. Unfortunately, Creflo Dollar wasn't there. So I was disappointed for that. so I already left now. Now I left. Right? Now, a week or two later, a friend of mine had been there, was going to that church, and they had told me about a lady that basically been putting like Jackie did, give all her money to the church for years and years and years, basically help, pay tithes religiously every month. And her lights were off. She went to the congregation to see if they could help her get her lights on. $200 something. Turned her away.
I would have showed up with my damn bank statements.
When I first heard that, I think that's probably the time when I was kind of like, you know what, I need to learn for myself, Christian.
Yeah.
You know what? Then I have a bigger question at hand, because we know what the problems are. From your perspectives, as older generations who have that clarity now, what would be the solution to bring that level of clarity to people in my generation or Generation X, which is under us, which is even worse than what we are? Because, I mean, let's face some facts. The divorce rate's higher than it's ever been. The marriage rate is lower than it's ever been. Like, there's a straight attack on families now, and they're doing that through religion. So what would be your course of action to kind of remitigate and restructure that trajectory for us.
Just like February said, you know, you got to encourage them to read for themselves.
Yeah. And you have to have so this is the thing about, you know, when you know who you are. When you understand who you are, you're not worried about what everybody else is doing. So you're doing the things that you know you need to do. So if you're in a family and take Black Lift is doing everything he needs to do to take care of his family. He is the man. He is standing firm in his belief, and he's teaching and giving a foundation. So if the kids come or the grandkids come and they're like, hey, Pop, I need A, B, C, D, or this is what's going on. He has information. But at the same time, you need to go over here and read it for yourself to decide what you want. But I'm going to give you this because this is what I understood. People will hold on to information instead of giving information because they're trying to get things to be a certain way for themselves. So at the end of the day, when you're not doing your part to make sure that you're enlightening everyone that needs to be enlightened, or you're giving the right information, then you're holding back and withholding stuff that's going to help benefit the generations that are coming up. You know, I said you need to read the word for yourself. Get into a relationship with you and the word, not you and everybody else.
Right, but how do you get over the hurdle to get them to the word? Because if you have people who have developed a mistrust in the relationship with church, then they have a misrelationship with the Bible, because the Bible was written by people. And if you think about when you were in high school or at work and so-and-so smacked so-and-so this morning, but before we get out of work, she's in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So we watch how fast a lie can quickly shift, you know, the truth to a lie. So if we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of years, and then men having the knowledge that religion helps conform and direct people, you know, immediately, like first time I opened up the Bible, I got 2 pages in and I had to go get a notebook because I had to start writing questions.
Right. But Jordan,
when Cain killed Abel, he said, "Oh God, don't put me out there because when they find out what I do, they'll surely kill me." Well, who is they? Because you're supposed to be the first 2 kids.
Yeah, but see, when you read the Bible, it talks about how he had to burn Sodom and Gomorrah because the angels had came down from the sky and had sex. If when you get into your Bible, it explains all of that.
Everything.
It does. It explains the Adam and Eve. It explains because when he banishes them, he banishes them from another land. So obviously, there's other people in other lands there. But like I said, that is what churches have done. To go to y'all point, what churches have done for years to petrify people into paying their bills. Right.
So Courtney, to answer your question, it's something that needs to happen, but it's getting harder and harder and harder. Courtney, you are lucky because what you found was a mentor.
No,
that's what needs to happen.
I've never had a mentor a day in my life.
But that's what needs to happen.
And I had to come back around.
Exactly.
I know who I am. Like when we were talking about knowing who you are, I'm very secure in myself. I've been very secure in myself. I helped raise my brothers. Like church was a joke to me, but my relationship with God never was. But if
you don't have a mentor, but you have Dr. Cotton that you can talk to, correct?
Yeah. Me and Dr. Cotton met on a film project just recently.
Exactly. Okay.
And I actually spoke to her in depth about
that happened once again. That happened for a reason.
Yeah,
of course.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's a reason why I'm here right now, because we developed that relationship.
Right. So what needs to happen?
But you have to be open-minded enough to allow those things to come to you. Right. Because when you're already secure in yourself and you've survived X, Y, and Z, and you've done it being a good person and you've done good things, it's hard to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody is going to have that open-minded perspective.
But
I have an open-minded perspective.
Like what we as men and what we as human beings have to do is we have to be open to being mentors to people. Right. So what I mean by that is I'm going to give you a prime example. Okay, I'm on my second marriage. Okay, my kids are 33, 34, 35, and 18. I got one that just graduated high school. Okay, but he can come and talk to me about anything. Okay. When his friends come over to hang out, they talk to me and I talk to them because I don't talk down to them. I don't preach to them.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
you're
I'm
what's
saying?
called a blessing. You know what I'm saying? You're an
Exactly.
anomaly. You're
But
not the
that's what
normal. You're the
and that's
anomaly.
what right, and that's what needs to happen in this community, but it's just not. It needs to happen more and more because we're losing a whole generation of kids because they don't have, I'm not gonna say because they don't have religion, but just because they don't have a mentor.
Yeah,
They
there's
don't
no
have
guidance.
somebody to guide them anywhere other than
Right.
bad stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we live in a very self-centered, focused world.
Exactly.
Because we're in it. Again, when I said earlier, I don't think it's self-centered because we're selfish. We're self-centered because we're surviving. That's how we've learned to maneuver through the world. So getting closer to God means unlearning everything that you built up to be able to survive. Our brains not even cognitively, our brains can compartmentalize experiences that we've had in order for us to move forward. I just read a really amazing book called The Body That Keeps the Score. And it's the effects of trauma on the brain, the mind, and the spirit. And there was a woman that they spoke about who 35 years old, always had problems with her relationships. In the middle of the night, she woke up and like beat the mess out of her boyfriend for no reason, freaked out. She went and started getting therapy, found out her dad had raped her for like half of her childhood. All of that was unwrapped. She didn't do that. Her brain literally compartmentalized that event so that she could focus and run in the world. So when you start to unpack things, it scares the shit out of people. And you have to unpack those things and unlearn those human fleshly things, those functions of survival mode in order to create space and open that space up for God to even come in the first place.
And so part of that comes down to we as people, regardless of what people think, they only associate PTSD with war. But what they don't understand, my wife is my second wife. She had issues with her first husband, and so she has PTSD. Hell, I got PTSD from my first wife. But it's just different. They're just different things. You know what I'm saying? So what we have to do is we just have to learn to talk to each other and listen to each other and guide each other through the PTSD that we both have.
Yeah.
One's physical, one's mental.
What's up, Nick? Nick finally joined us, y'all. She had a comment.
Yeah, let's go through these comments real quick,
a good
y'all.
church is when you can go to church. You go for the word. Come as you are, no judgment. If you would like, if it goes to the actual church, tithes. If you like, we'll go to the actual church. She said also, what they do with the money is no one's business, as you did your duty for your church. The pastor has to answer to God just like us. Yeah, well, that's true, but
you know what? Is church like in a biblical text? Is church really a physical building, or is church a community?
So this is it. So let me just say
actually a physical temple.
So the church is the temple, but the reality is this: in the Bible, it says that we are to pay a tenth of our earnings. So the tenth of your earnings, wherever you're going to church, you give it to that church. Now,
yeah, see, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that God came down and was like, 10% is the great number. You know what I'm saying? 10%?
It comes from the book of Moses time where they basically sacrificed lambs and cattle and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you had to bring something for a burnt offering and something for a sin offering. So if I did something wrong, I had to bring a cattle or a calf, cut his neck, but then I also could bring a burnt offering, so one is a tithe and one is for your sins. One is the regular offering. A burnt offering is the regular offering you give when you just give your $5, right? Your sin offering is your tithe. Your tithe gives a hedge around your family, gives a hedge of protection around you, your family, your children, and everything you do. And it shake it down and run it over. It comes back to you, right? But that's a whole nother story, y'all.
I know, right?
But the thing is this: whatever, if you're gonna do your part and you're gonna live the word, however you read it and how it translates to you and your being. One thing that Blacklift said, he made a good point about mentoring other people. When you know you and you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're living life right, just loving people, not judging, not doing anything crazy, but just living a good, honest life, you don't have a problem when God places people in your lives for you to speak over or for you to encourage. And a lot of times people change their lives based off of what you're doing. Because if they see that you're doing the right thing, then guess what? It's a seed that you're planting. And now that the seed is planted and it gets watered, then they start walking down the road. But you got to be willing to mentor other people. You got to be willing to be there for them. Even when you don't want to, you have to be willing to do that. A lot of times people are so stuck on stupid parked and drive that they cannot even think about helping somebody else because it's all about them. Do you know that?
Well, do you think that there's certain ones of us that are just anointed to bring that into fruition?
No, everybody can do it.
I'm not saying that everybody can't do it, but do you believe that that's a calling for certain people more than others?
No, because it's a choice. See, this is why we got you got your mind, your will, and your emotions. All God gave us that we can freely do these things on our own.
Well, you got to think of what Nick just said. Church is in you. The temple is to worship with like-minded people.
It is, and that's.
I agree, because I feel like church. Like when I said I'm redeveloping my relationship with church, I feel like God is calling me to church for my community because I've lived alone so much. I fought alone so much, and you're not supposed to be alone.
Well,
if we talk longer than 5 minutes, we're going to talk about God and do you work with the kids.
Yeah, and we've had that discussion before too. That human beings are social. We're social creatures. You are meant to be. And I don't want to use the word yoked, but you're meant to be with someone else. You're not.
In community.
You are not meant to be alone.
Absolutely.
Whether it be a community, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. People are not meant to be alone, and part of the mental health issues we're having is because people are lonely.
Yeah,
and they are alone.
100%.
Yeah,
and that mind gets real loud when you're alone.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. I mean, we went way over time, but it was good. That's what I mean. I already knew that was going to happen. I knew once we get into talking about the book, and then it falls into the religious part of it. I mean, the spiritual part of it, then, it's going to be a nice long conversation. But I've learned a lot from you guys. And I hope you guys that's watching has learned a lot. Don't forget, again, go grab the book, Between Seasons, Transition. Oops, what is it? Transitions to Transformation.
Transformation.
It's out there on Amazon. Rhonda, what else?
It's on Amazon.com, and then you can go to my website, which is cccs.llc, and it's on my website, and you can get an autographed copy if you go to my website. Or you
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. Anything else, man, before we leave? Because I mean, I want to have y'all back. This is a good conversation. You know
what I would love to jump on with us? We need to jump on that conversation about men and women.
Exactly.
Rhonda, we need to come on this.
Y'all definitely need to come back for that.
Because I was ready to jump on the pre-show. Pre-show, my little fingers were texting. I was like, and I'm actually on set right now. I'm writing downstairs.
Oh, for real?
So if you saw me go down for a second, because I'm on set right now. Oh, and it's funny because I just want to bring up a quick point, that ties back to Rhonda's book. And just the title alone, it's a reminder to you that everything comes and goes. It's a reminder to you that bad things, good things, mediocre things, great things, they have a season. And that a part of you has to let go and release when those seasons are over. You ever stay in a situation, all of a sudden, everything starts going bad, your business ain't doing good, you're irritated at everything, you're past your expiration date.
Oh, yeah.
You're past your expiration date. You're past your season.
Exactly.
You're trying to stay over here, and God told you, we got to go this way.
Exactly.
He's not sending you shit right now because you haven't learned that you're staying in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to send you blessings when he knows you about to bless someone who don't deserve those blessings. That's another big thing.
I got a story about that one. We got to let it go.
Listen, we'll put a pin in it and we'll tap back in real soon.
Let us know when y'all want to come back, because I mean that's definitely. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate the conversation. Definitely got to have you on again. Let me know when you got time, Courtney, Ron. Let me know. Okay. Yeah, we'll have y'all back. Anything, Fat Boy?
Oh man, I just want to thank y'all, both ladies, for coming and joining us. I appreciate you, Rhonda. I love the book. I love how you took your story and made it a spiritual motivational book as well. Right? It's a biography, but there's a lot of spiritual depth in here. So shout out to you for that, Courtney. Shout out to you for bringing the fire. My brothers, man, I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all perspective. It was a great show, man. It was a great show. I appreciate the ladies, and I will love to have y'all back. All the comments, all the all the support, man. And Miss Woodridge, shout out to you. And of course, get better, get well. We love you got to tune in every week moving forward. I'm expecting you now. Okay. I love your perspective. Black Lip may not want you in here every week, but I love your perspective. I love the way you think. You're a part of our community as well. I appreciate y'all ladies and dear brothers and dear sisters.
We'll have it next week. I got one.
We'll have one.
I got a good one.
If you have any, make sure you send it to firedupbroadcasting@gmail.com. No longer than a minute. It could be audio or video. And like I said, that's firedupbroadcasting@gmail.com. And all you do is in the subject box, go ahead and just label it dear brother or dear sister. Man, we love y'all.
Absolutely.
Man. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Nick, and Peter Thomas. Have I met him?
Peter,
y'all know Peter.
Peter Thomas. Shout out to you.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate
Articulate,
you,
brother. Shout out to you.
Definitely.
I love it. I love your opinion. I love your perspective.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's going to do it for us, y'all, today, man. And again.
We didn't get Black Lip.
I was going to say, man, I told you, see, I'm not the opening credits, so they cut me out all the damn time.
Man, we don't cut you out.
I'm like I'm an afterthought.
You know what? And when you guys are ready to update that intro, you hit me up. Muse Productions, right in Miami. Marketing Genius.
It's on. I was just talking to Fat Boy about it just not too long ago. It's on.
We're gonna give him some.
I just want to let everybody know I love each and every person here. Dr. Cotton, Courtney, love you guys as well. I appreciate y'all being here, and Dr. Cotton, KC all the way. Everybody that's on here, tell somebody else. We need to get more people in here. We try to keep it real, we try to keep it honest, and we do. Yeah. And as I said, I appreciate you two lovely ladies being here with us. And
you know what we need to do, sir? We need to take this from the cameras and go set up somewhere with a real panel and show people how to do these conferences. Not what we're sitting up there talking.
Them two cats in California. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I don't know where y'all are.
Right? Listen, but what you don't understand is God already showed me us on stage.
Okay, bet that.
So it's already en route.
Okay, I'm retired. I'm retired, so we can do whatever. Hey, like I said, look, I look forward to y'all. I want y'all to come back when y'all can. Look, love y'all. God bless. And Fuel, let's get out of here, man. You going overtime, bro.
I can't go.
Ladies, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, ladies.
A little something that's coming up. Yeah.
Sit back and relax.
There's a little something that's gonna be coming up pretty soon.
Bringing you that love too.
Yeah, y'all heard
feeling this baby making music. I'm gonna need you to stop that, boy.
Oh man.
I hear you. Get it together.
I had to give a snippet every time, man. But you know what I'm saying? For you guys that are watching, it's actually a celebration of the Nights, Southeast Nights. So Rhonda, you know you involved. Yeah. You know what's up. But me and the fellas from our school, man, and Lance, one of the big producers, actually did this song, and we're doing a countdown for it in the next week or so, whatever. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna have everybody on the panel, and vibing to the song and everything, whatever, and talk about how it was made and all that good stuff. It's coming. So I just had to give y'all a snippet of it, so keep a lookout on the advertising, stuff like that. And yes, Courtney, we definitely need to talk. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. All right, that's what's up. Ron, you and Dog, you know what's up. You know what's up, Dog?
It's always love, and it's always love. And I know,
right? Always. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us today, man. And remember, if they talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Peace.
All our illusions will disapparate, and all the reasons start to fade.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Reasons, the show where you can give your reasons why you think what you feel about what we're talking about today. We should know this, man. We say no.
Dear brother, how do y'all deal with erectile dysfunction when you're in a relationship?
I wouldn't know how to do it unless I had it. And remember, if they're talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a